Welcome, welcome. It's amazing to have you here this evening. We're going to get started by stretching out our upper body, moving into our lower body. If we're not comfortable with kneeling on the floor, then we can use a bench or a chair. But we're just going to get started by reaching one arm up overhead, and you're going to look towards that arm that's up overhead. That other arm is reaching back, and then we're going to reach the other arm up overhead, look towards that arm, and just alternate a couple of times, looking to that arm that's up overhead while we're reaching up as high as we can and as back as we can. And we're looking towards that arm just to get a nice gentle stretch through the neck. And now switch, and we're going to reach up overhead and actually look away from that arm. A lot of our muscles that attach onto the neck also attach onto our shoulder blades and onto our collarbone. So it's really good to move that neck when we're moving those shoulders. And then just go ahead, let's move a little bit quicker through those arms, a little bit more of a swing. Allow your core and your spine to rotate to that side where that arm goes back. And then a couple of little quick side bends here. We're going to get some side bends and some more rotation in with some lower body stretching. So if we're not comfortable in a kneeling position, we're going to use a chair or a bench. I'm going to demonstrate both options. So either position, we're going to have 1 foot forward with 1 foot planted on the floor. And then we're going to plant the opposite hand down. All right. Then we're going to take the other arm, we're going to rotate open, reach up towards the ceiling, and then you're going to take that forearm that's reaching and reach it down to the floor. So we're not threading through, we're reaching that forearm down and then opening back up for a rotation. We're going to do 3, 4, 5 of these. Try and keep that big toe planted down. And your knee is going to push out to the side. So we're getting a stretch through our spine. We're reaching that shoulder blade as we reach that forearm. Probably getting a bit of a stretch in through the groin. Maybe a bit of a stretch in through that opposite hip flexor. And if we need, we can be on a chair doing the same thing. We're just not kneeling down. All right, 1 more of those rotations. And then you're going to take the knee, the foot, that leg that's in front, and you're going to bring that leg out to the side, inside of the foot on the floor. We're going to come on to both hands. We're going to shift our hips back towards our heel, rocking back with the inside of the foot down, toes facing forward, looking for a nice stretch in the groin, maybe a bit of a stretch coming up on the opposite side as well. And we can always do this from a tall kneeling position and even feel a little bit of a different stretch. Gets into a little bit of a hip thrust. And then we've got the option to actually turn the toes up towards the ceiling. So now we're in more of an outwardly rotated position through the hips, and we can rock in and out of this long groin stretch. In standing, you're just going to come in and out of that hinge position, but you're fine on the floor if you're doing good on the floor. Just showing both options. Okay. We're going to switch over to the other side. So now we're going to come into that kneeling position with the other foot forward. Opposite hand comes to the floor. We're going to open up, rotate towards the ceiling. Look up to your hand if that feels good. And then we're gonna bring that forearm, reach it down towards the floor. Keep that big toe planted, encourage that knee to come out to the side as that forearm reaches down. And just easing into this side, every rep, we can ease a little bit further, and we have our standing option, which is exactly the same. We're just not kneeling. So once you've gone through 3, 4, or 5 on that side, we're going to take that knee that's forward, that foot out to the side, inside of the foot comes down. We can start on hands and knees, and we've got that long groin stretch that we can move into more or less stretch by rocking those hips towards the heels, and then up into more of that high hip position. And for a little bit of a different stretch, we can rotate those toes up towards the ceiling, increasing that outward rotation and just changing the line of stretch, maybe through that straight leg as we rock forwards and backwards. All right. Good. So we're going to progress into the movements for our workout today. We've got 4 movements: lower body, core, upper body focused, and a movement to get our heart rates up a little bit as well. So you can grab a lighter set of dumbbells. And we are going to start our first movement on the floor in a side plank position. If you're feeling ready for a little bit of weight, we can actually hold a dumbbell on the hip, but you can also do a couple of repetitions without any load just to feel comfortable. So we're going to come into a side plank. We're on our forearm. Ideally, our wrist is down, our elbow is down, our knees are bent. We can have the top leg straight, or it can be bent on the bottom leg. The goal of this exercise is that we're pushing into that bottom leg, lifting our hip up off the floor, staying strong through our shoulder, little pause at the top, and we're going to drop back down. We're doing a side plank hip thrust. And if you want to increase the challenge here, we can hold a weight on the side of our hip, or we can actually lift that top leg away from the bottom leg and really just rely on that bottom leg. We're driving it into the floor, really looking to work that outer aspect of the hip. And when I look down my body, I don't have to have my knees completely straight in line with me. My knees are actually a little bit ahead of my body. All right. So we're going to do 6 or 8 on each side, with or without weight added to that hip. And we want to feel comfortable in through our shoulder and our neck. So play around a little bit with where that weight is shifted into that forearm. So once you finish your 6 or 8 on one side, let's switch over to the other side. Do a couple of repetitions without any weight. We're on that forearm. We can have our palm flat to the floor. We can have a fist with our thumb up. We don't have to be perfectly straight in that body alignment. We're going to come up from that hip position on the floor into that hip thrust position, really focusing on pushing down through that bottom leg, the knee, down the shin, and staying strong through that shoulder. Again, we can take that top leg and actually lift it and hover it above the bottom leg. We can have it stacked on top. We can even add a weight by holding a dumbbell on that hip. This is very much getting into that side of the hip. We're really focused on that side booty today here. So 6 or 8 repetitions. Okay. Then after that, we're going to get into the Russian twist. So sometimes people like to do this sitting on a chair. We also have the option to do it sitting on the floor. So we're going to sit on our bottoms. We're going to bend our knees, heels touching the floor, balls of the feet just hovering. And you can stay up very tall and very straight as we rotate and touch our hands both to one side. Rotate and touch our hands to the other side. Now, to increase a little bit of challenge here, we don't have to add weight. We could actually lean back a little bit. Want to spread that tension across our abdomen, and we're going to keep those rotations going. We can stay very long and tall, but if that bothers you, we can round a bit, and if that bothers you, do the opposite. And maybe halfway through your reps for the workout, we're going to do 8 or 12 alternating. So every touch is 1, 2. You can decide. Let's take an extra moment if you want a little bit more challenge. We can stack our feet. That's going to make us lean back because we have less touch on the floor. So we can increase challenge by stacking our feet, by lifting both of our feet. Or we can keep our feet down and hold on to a dumbbell. And we can touch that same sided hand to the floor as we hold that dumbbell horizontally. We want that full spinal twist as well as the shoulders. Okay, that's a bit bothering in the low back. Coming and sitting on a chair, sometimes just raising those hips up, even sitting on a yoga block or a step stool, raising those hips can sometimes just change the way we feel with that Russian twist. Right? So lots of options there for our 8 or 12 alternating reps. Every touch is 1 rep. All right, come on up into standing. We're going to break up some of our sitting with some jumping jacks. So just start with me. We're going to reach our arms up overhead as we touch one foot out. Reach our arms up overhead as we touch the other foot out. Now with the stepping jacks, if we eventually get into bouncing or jumping, we can step just a little bit or we can step quite a bit. All right. And when we step out, a little bit of a knee bend and my hips, right? A little bit of a hinge forward. I'm going to try and keep my rib cage and myself forward over my hips. And if we're wanting to add a little bit more speed, we increase that step rate. For our workout, we're going to do 20 reps. If you want a little bit more, we can add a bounce. So I'm not actually leaving the floor here. I'm coming up on my toes. And then if we want to increase that impact, increase that intensity, we can get into a little bit of a bigger bounce. I'm actually up off the floor with both of my feet, or I can go to a full jumping jack. Again, maybe I just jump just a tiny bit and then back together. We can progress that width. And I usually go the widest is probably going to be about my shoulders. Okay, if we're having any pressure, any heaviness, this feeling like we might leak, we need to come back to one of the options where we don't have that, or we're holding too tight. We need our pelvic floor to be like a trampoline. So there are a couple of things, okay? So you're going to choose 1 or 2 variations that you can do to get you to those 20 reps. All right? 2 weights, 2 dumbbells, 1 in each hand for some bicep curls to an overhead press. So come into that nice, strong posture position. We don't want to be pushing our hips forward, having our bums tucked under, palms facing forward. We're going to curl that weight. We're going to rotate those arms out. We're going to press overhead. Rotate back in, palms facing forward. Lower that weight down, come all the way straight. Feel the back of the arms, tighten those triceps, letting us know that we've gone all the way straight. And now let's turn, thumbs up, curl, and then we can go straight into a press. So for our workout, 8 or 12 reps here. If you don't want to have the rotational aspect, we do thumbs up or palms up will just make us rotate out. And our overhead press, our elbows are about at a 45 degrees. So not right in front of us, but not out way to the side. Okay, so let's finishing up a couple more reps here. We're going to count this full round. And then for the workout, if you want to stick with my pacing, you can. If you want to move ahead a little bit, you can also do that. We're going to have lots of time for lots of reps. One more here. That bicep curl, overhead press. All right. Good. Let's set those weights down. Now we're coming back onto the floor. We've got our side plank hip thrust. Personally, I always like to do my non-dominant side first. So that means I'm going to go to my left because once I start to get tired, my left sometimes feels way more challenging. So I kind of just like to start with the left and I feel really good and powerful. All right, we've got 6 or 8 reps here with or without a weight on that top hip. We're in our side plank and we're going up, little pause at the top, coming back down, little pause at the bottom, back on up. 3, 4, feel and shift your weight so that you can get a really good platform through that whole forearm. 1 more here for 6. If we can, we're going to go to 8. If you're ready, switch to the other side. We've got 6 or 8 on both sides here. Stay grounded through that forearm. Stay grounded through that bottom leg. That top leg can be straight, hovering, or bent. We're looking to feel that effort through the side of the leg that's planted. We're going to feel it a little bit in our core as we go through a bit of a side crunch here as well, and definitely through the shoulder as it helps to support us. So 1 more here for 6. Maybe we're going to 8. If you're counting and moving a bit faster than me, that's totally fine. We've got our Russian twists next. So we're going to set that weight down or keep our weight if we had one. 8 or 12 reps alternating. Twist as much as feels comfortable. We don't have to go super slow here, but we're also not going to rotate insanely fast. We can be rounded through our spine or quite straight, whatever feels best for us. We're working our whole abdominal wall here. Couple more reps for those 8 or 12 total alternating. And then we are going to get up into standing for our jumping jacks. And it's crazy, I have my socks on. I hate working out with my socks on. So boom, they're over. So 20 reps total. You have to choose a variation that you can do all of them or split it up. Honestly, I just end up doing a whole combo. And if your rhythm's a bit off, that's cool. And every touch is 1. 10, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome, great work. Now, as we transition into those bicep curls, with that overhead press, our heart rate is elevated. Woohoo! We are alive. We feel good. So as you go through your 8 or 12 bicep curls, overhead presses, control your breath. slow your heart rate down by lengthening your exhale ever so slightly with every rep. Get those arms nice and straight by our sides. Feel the tricep, that back of the arm. Feel those shoulder blades helping you. Keeping that nice, strong posture. 8 or 12 reps. Either palm up or thumbs up, maybe half and half. Feel your feet underneath of you, stay grounded and connected. Last rep here. Awesome. So, side plank hip thrust. We're back for our third time through. The goal is to go through 2 more times. Get into that side plank. Get connected through that forearm, that shoulder. And we're going for 6 or 8. Little pause at the top. Come on down. And then right back up again. If your heart rate's still a bit elevated, which is pretty normal, stay connected to your breath. Slow that breath down or just keep it consistent. 6 or 8. There's 6. 7. And 8. Okay, so that bottom knee is bent at about 90 degrees. And we can very much push through that outer ankle, just like we can push through that knee of the bottom leg. All right, 6 or 8 here. And when I say find that balance over your forearm, my shoulders aren't completely stacked here. I've actually got a little bit of a lean forward, and that helps me keep some weight through my wrist. So it's not all just pressure through my elbow. It's distributed a little bit more because my shoulder's at the center of my forearm. Good. After those 6 or 8, we've got our Russian twists. 8 or 12. Weighted or unweighted. Rotating as much as we can. Every touch is 1 rep. Feeling some challenge in through the sides of the core. Maybe a little bit in the hip flexors at the front. Our knees are bent, and our hips are bent. Those hip flexors are helping our core, and that's okay. Couple more reps here before we get up. Well done. You're so strong. You're in control. Woo! Jumping jacks. 20. Maybe the same variation, maybe not. Give yourself a little bit of a lean forward. We don't need to be rung up level. Use your hips to help absorb some of that impact along with your ankles and knees. Keep the breath flowing. If we're having any symptoms come up, let's make a modification and talk to coach after. Good stuff. A couple more. If you're done your 20, you can pick up those dumbbells. Good job. Perfect. Wow. We're not looking for perfect. We're looking for progress, but perfect. We finished those jumping jacks. 8 or 12 bicep curls. Stay strong through your lower body. That's going to help you move that upper body. And we're going to bring that awareness to our breath to help slow our heart rate down. So our breath rate and our heart rate are directly linked. So we can influence our heart rate by being intentional with our breath. As you curl up, keep those elbows nice and high, and then straighten them out. 8 or 12 reps here. Good job, ladies. Those shoulders, they're talking, and we like it. Strength and power. Good stuff. One more time through. We're gonna head back to the floor. Side plank hip thrust. Keep the plan, weighted or unweighted. 6 reps or 8 reps. There's no wrong answer here. You might go up in weight or challenge, you might go down, and that's fine. Let's get up there for our 6 or 8. And that balance through the forearm, pressing through the ground, that lower leg, not just the knee, but also through the ankle a little bit. Last one here for 8. Switching on over. Good job. Shake out those shoulders. Little shoulder rolls if you need. Well done. We're getting through it. We're keeping that quality of rep up nice and high. Little pauses when we need just to reset our tension. Definitely grab water if you need after this. Last couple, 6 or 8. Those booties are talking too. Woo! There's a lot of muscles at work, and we're just targeting a little bit more of that outer hip with that side plank hip thrust. And all the muscles of the core help us with this Russian twist, but definitely those obliques. So whether you're a bit rounded with your twists or up quite straight, weighted or unweighted, heels on the floor, or lifted, 8 or 12. Spread that tension across your abdomen with your breath. Enough tension to support you, but allow the rotation. Couple more reps. Well done. Once you're done those 8 or 12, you know what's next. We've got our stepping, bouncing, or jumping jacks. Plenty of them here. We can control our breath here. We have to. We can change halfway through. Great job. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woohoo! Last strength movement for tonight. To finish our 4 rounds, bicep curls, overhead press. Today we're doing double arms at the same time. But other times we'll alternate. You can do half your reps, either with those palms forward, and that's going to bring in that rotation to get us into our front rack position for a press. We can do half our reps with that thumb up. That eliminates that twist. So 8 or 12 reps. If you're like, Coach, I lost count. We don't have to be 100% all the time on those reps. We're in the ballpark. One less, one more. It's all going to even out. Last 2 here. And then we're going to settle into some nice stretches. We deserve it. Good job. Set those weights down. We are going to do a wall pigeon stretch. If you don't have a wall close to you, we can use a chair or a bench. You can also show a variation in sitting. So we're going to lay on our back or sit on a chair. We're going to cross the outer ankle onto the opposite knee. Okay, so feet either up on a chair or up on a table or the bench. Cross that ankle onto the other thigh. And we're going to just push that knee down and away. And as we lay here, just take a moment to check in with yourself. Control that breath. only pushing the knee down as much as we need. We can also do this sitting in a chair, like I said. And then we're gonna take that, we're gonna grab that knee that's crossed and that we were just pushing down. And now we're gonna pull it towards our opposite shoulder, so across our body. Getting into just a little bit of a different glute stretch there. And then just take a moment and hug that knee into your chest before we switch on over to the other side. So set that foot back down on the chair or against the wall. We're going to cross that opposite leg now. And it might be enough just for you to stay right here and feel enough of a stretch. We can always shift our hips closer or farther away from the wall. But we can also just push down gently on that knee to increase a bit of that stretch. Or just taking some moments here to release tension and through those hips that, just naturally elevates when we're working them, when we're bringing that challenge. We can take some nice deep breaths, relaxing down into the bottom of our core. We're going to take that knee, pull it across our body towards that opposite shoulder. Fill your belly as you breathe in. You'll feel a bit of that gentle resistance onto that thigh. Relax all the openings at the bottom of your pelvis. Relax your jaw. Uncross the leg, bring that knee to your chest. And you should have enough space. If you don't, just move yourself away from the wall. We're going to roll onto one side, come into a side lying rotation. So we're in that side lying position, fetal position. Arms are out straight in front of us, and we're going to rotate open, reaching that arm back behind us. We can circle that top arm like we're making a snow angel. We did those Russian twists today. So it's really good to just stretch out that twist, lengthen through the shoulders. We can open and close that side lying rotation, or we might just pause here in that open position with the arm completely straight or bent, whatever feels best for that shoulder. Just take 2 nice deep breaths that fill into your abdomen, your low back. Let out a nice sigh. When you're ready, close that rotation up. Maybe you bring your knees to your chest, both of them, and then you're going to roll over to your other side. We're going to go through our side lying rotation here. We're going to finish up with our last movement of the workout together. We can open and close that side lying rotation. We can snow angel that arm or pretend like we're playing the guitar to just get some different stretch through that chest. Feel that movement between our shoulder blades. We're going to pause here for 2 more breaths as a collective. So amazing to join with you this evening. You did a great job meeting yourself where you're at. Spend more time here, roll onto your back, hug your knees in if you want. Stay as long as you'd like. Well done this evening. We'll definitely see you again.